X-Pac 12360. Featuring weekly news, insider commentary, and interviews with superstars, past and present from the world of pro wrestling.
A new day is dawning for DX.
And now, your host, Sean X-Pac Waltman.
X-Pac 12360, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone had a great week. I know I did. I'm trying to convince myself. No, it's fine. Anyway, whatever. Who gives a shit? On the couch, we got Jimbo.
Hello, Sean.
We got Denise Salcedo. But the beautiful, lovely Lula.
She's knocked out. She's wearing her like super cute overall.
She threw her,
Yeah.
She threw her boot up this morning. I'm not sure why. So, anyways. And hey, Bill. We got Bill Handstock from upbox.com. You did. I can't hear you. Oh, now I can.
For those of you wondering what Bill said, he said he kept his breakfast down.
TK Trinidad.
Hey. I
Hi.
didn't have breakfast yet.
So anyway.
You had those,
Nuts?
your special nuts.
That sounded so wrong.
Your special nuts and your boxed water.
It's not my fault that y'all take things the wrong way.
Yeah.
TK has her special nuts, and she snacks on them. But
Anyways. We have a great guest this week, Austin Aries.
The greatest man that ever
Yeah.
lived.
yeah.
My-
And vegan. I'm really
double.
excited.
My tag team partner from Australia.
We talked about double A last week, but this week we're talking about a double.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm a big fan of Austin Aries. I've said that several times on my social media and in public. So he's a Minnesota guy. Well, actually, he's from Waukesha, Wisconsin, but came through Eddie Sharkey School and sort of kind of followed my footsteps through that area of, you know, the independent scene there.
Yeah.
Was he like Sean Davari, where they were like, "Oh, you'll be the next Sean Waltman"?
Everyone, not just Davari and not just Austin Aries, everyone is
Anyone
going to
that
be
came
the
out of
next
there?
Sean Waltman, according to Eddie Sharkey.
And there's still just been one.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, looking forward to talking to Austin. I went to Raw. Listen, okay. Bill hit me up and actually talked. Bill, I apologize.
It's all
I'm
good.
sorry, man.
It's fine.
Bill was like, "Hey, you want to go to Raw?" And you know, and my friend Big Dave, he was hitting me up, and he was pretty disappointed that I didn't go. And then Maria hit me up, and Maria Menounos hit me up and said, "Hey, let's go to Raw. I got these big CEOs from Rally Health, and let's go." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, let's go." So, sorry, Big Dave. Sorry, Bill.
It's all good, man.
Did you bring Lou with you?
No, but you know what? I want to one time. I think I'm going to. Just I didn't want to do it that, you know, because I had to take an Uber to Maria's. Anyways, who cares?
How did you like the show?
I didn't see I didn't see a lot of it. I did see and mainly I just heard the Matt Hardy, the Broken Hardy stuff. Really good stuff. And he was talking to me. He was telling me about how everything went down recently and how, you know, I don't want to talk too much out of school. Tell everyone too much of what Matt said. He might have been saying in confidence, but it seems like everything's worked itself out when it comes to that, which is cool. I'm glad to hear it because, you know, what's the point of owning something? If you can't use it or can't let the people oh, it's mine. I own this intellectual property.
Being selfish.
Yeah.
Like, you
So
can't
okay,
have this
now
'cause
what are you
mine.
gonna? Yeah. What are you gonna do with it? It's
They're not
for the
selling
people.
shirts. They're not doing anything with
Yeah.
it.
Let the people enjoy it. Jesus. Anyway, so I guess, you know, cooler heads have prevailed when it comes to that. I
Definitely.
think. What do you guys think?
I like that promo.
Yeah.
That promo was really good. It's just very exciting.
Yeah, it's fantastic. This is the best way to use Bray right now.
Yeah.
It's the best way to use Matt right now, obviously with Jeff out especially. And then you can get them, you know, maybe when Jeff comes back, you'll have them recreate their amazing feud that started the whole Broken storyline.
Yeah, Matt was telling me how he was explaining the whole thing to Vince, and Vince was just eating it up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because he
Awesome.
never really talked to him about it.
That's great.
Before, just really recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the last few weeks.
It's a great start to bring in the broken character over here now as the woken character. It's a great start. I just really I want them to keep all the parts of it that made it so good, and I just hope that they do like stuff at the compound and like do those vignettes that like Matt's in charge of, instead of like just doing whatever stuff backstage or whatever.
Well, yes, I agree. I worry about it getting too overproduced as far as because the charm of that whole thing was how they like got everything done and just use a lot of creativity and not necessarily a huge budget.
Yeah. The thing that made it such a phenomenon is it doesn't look like anything else. It certainly didn't look like anything else Impact was doing. It didn't look like anything else pro wrestling has ever done before, because it's just these people over here with a completely different production value, completely different way of shooting things. They're just doing their thing over here, and it doesn't look like anything else. And as much as WWE tries to branch out from time to time, anytime they try and do something different, it just ends up looking like WWE. Yeah. Like even when they tried to do their own thing, when they sent the New Day to the Wyatt's compound, it was like really like overproduced, a lot of cross cuts, a lot of interesting angles. So I just hope that they're able to let Matt be in charge of Matt.
Which I don't know, man. I mean, probably as much as they can, but I don't see it being like you're saying.
It's not going to be like it was before, and I know that. But as long as they let him do some of the aspects, like do it at the compound, have Rebby and Senior Benjamin and Vanguard 1 in it, like do some of that stuff instead of just like cutting to Matt backstage with everybody else with the clangy poles and stuff.
Sure.
Well, one of the good things too is that even though obviously there was like all these like legal battles or whatever for this, that not too much time went by to where people didn't like fully react to it, which is good because now it's at a point it came out where people are still like, okay, like this is good, it's back, it's happening, and not too much time went by.
And I think of any character to put him against, Bray Wyatt is the best fit for this. Because anyone else, it might be like, well, what is Matt Hardy doing? Why this is weird, but with Bray Wyatt, it fits. And then you're excited, what vignettes is Bray Wyatt going to come back with, and where's the story going to go? So
how cool is it that before they were even back in the WWE, they were going back and forth on social media and kind of shooting their own angle.
Almost exactly 1 year ago, and Matt just quote tweeted it. Yeah. Almost exactly 1 year ago, they were going back and forth, and Bray Wyatt said, "You know where to find us." Mm-hmm. And so Matt quote tweeted that and said, like, 1 lunar cycle later.
I knew you'd come.
See, you know, like, you can really influence things into happening by doing things like that. And it's not just, okay, wow, it's funny how they ended up there. No, it's not funny. They made that happen. Yeah. Like, you know, it's you put that out in the universe and shit happens.
Well, they even did something on Total Divas a couple weeks ago where they showed behind the scenes where when Lana was pinned by Naomi and that was supposed to be her last match ever in WWE.
And then she retweeted the picture.
A fan took a screen cap of her shoulder being up during the 3 count. And Lana took it upon herself to retweet that out and then just gained steam.
2 matches out of that.
Oh, good. Nice. So I was talking to Matt, and I was like, Matt, you know, I got to be honest with you, Matt. When you first started doing that broken Matt stuff on Twitter, I thought, I said, Matt, we've both been there. We've had our issues, and we've had our, been in the darkness. And I was like, I was worried about you, man. I thought you lost your freaking mind. Like, seriously. And we were just kind of laughing about it because, like, either he did or he's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. And, like, I'm going with the genius.
Well, they say genius and insanity are just right on the
break, but right? It's whatever. A little of both. It's so good. And I know some people shit on it, and I understand why, but they're just, I wish they could look at it through the lenses of the people that get it, you know?
And the good thing is this is also bringing up another argument where it's, I believe Impact is now letting people keep their intellectual properties, which is good because, sometimes that holds other wrestlers from joining certain companies because they're worried about their character and having to rebrand and all of this stuff. So it's kind of, brought this awareness where if you create something or you're known for something, that you should be able to take it places with you.
Here's how I think. I think it can be a situation where both sides can feel like they got, that they won. I think that when somebody goes there and they create something that they should be able to take it with them. But when they go, the company should still be able to exploit that, like, and still market it as well.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like it does, you know, in WWE, like people that come in there with their names and they don't change their names and then they leave, but WWE still has the right to exploit their likeness.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I do too. Totally. Because, I mean, you know, you're creating this, but you're getting to display it.
Platform
yeah, you're giving it. So yes, I'm for everyone. I'm for there being, like, you know, everyone getting a piece. Like, you would not have to be greedy here. Everyone can win. So, what else is up?
Time for some news?
Yeah.
Time for some news.
Break it down.
Time for some news. Hello.
Like peas and rice.
Rice and peas.
Rice and peas.
Hey, so we're gonna do news right now.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So, Impact Wrestling has two new vice presidents, excuse me. They announced that Don Callis and Scott D'Amore has joined the company as executive vice presidents. So do you think that's going to change the kind of scope of it? Because they've been going through a lot of changes over the last couple of months. So you think these choices are... Well,
the thing is, my perspective, Scott D'Amore, I like Scott. He's really, you know... He's smart. Like, he knows what's up. He knows what to do. But he's been there before, you know, when things weren't, you know, the one that I'm waiting to see how Jesus Christ, I'm having a hard time spitting things out this morning or this afternoon.
Easy for you to say.
No shit. Sorry. Let me try this again. I'm waiting to see how Don Callis does, because, I mean, we've already seen, like, Scott, and like I said, I'm a fan of Scott's, and he's really competent, and I'm happy to see him there. But Don Callis is the one I want to see, like, what he brings to the table.
I think this is also good because it might reopen up those relationships with Ring of Honor, with New Japan, and we might see, you know, kind of like the heightening of Impact again, where it could be, it has so much potential to connect with all of these different companies, and now they can kind of work together and be like that strong suit. And I think with both of these guys, I think that can happen.
I think it's I hope that's what happens. I liked how when there were a lot more companies in existence, a lot more promotions in existence in Japan, they would work together a lot more. And there's this old mentality that is still with us, with a lot of people, that, okay, if you're the competition, we gotta put you out of business, we gotta destroy you, we gotta freaking kill you. That's the old way of doing it. It doesn't have to be like that, and I just don't think it's healthy. I really don't.
Yeah, for sure. That's already, like, the wheels are already in motion there. They're the plan, from what I've heard, is that New Japan's going to send some of their younger boys or some of their lower card people to Impact to do some stuff. Same with ROH, and they're going to see how it goes. And if things are truly different now than they were before, because, you know, ROH and New Japan have tried partnerships with them before and it didn't work out so well in the past, but they're going to give it a shot. Don Callis has been working those intermediaries thing. He's still with New Japan as a commentator. He's not leaving that position. So that those wheels are already in motion. They're going to reopen the New Japan and ROH pipeline, and we'll see if it all works out.
I think this is great for fans to just get eyes on wrestling, because some fans that watch Impact might not know about New Japan, and then they see a New Japan guy and so on and so forth. Years back, TNA did a fan poll, like, vote for who you want to see wrestle, and Austin Aries won that poll when he was still in Ring of Honor and got to wrestle on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. And
that was the first time I ever saw him wrestle on the pay-per-view, and he instantly was like, who is this guy? Let me go look him up. So it'll just help more exposure for wrestling.
Speaking of Austin Aries, she's actually our guest today.
That's right. I think we mentioned that already, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Well, I also think that what Jimbo said ties into what you said about wrestlers getting more exposure because, obviously there's fans, there's WWE fans that don't watch TNA and maybe think like, oh, maybe that company should be killed or whatever. People have had that mentality in the past. But if it wasn't for other companies, other guys like AJ Styles, Bobby Roode wouldn't have this time Samoa Joe, so many guys, the list can go on and on, wouldn't have the time to be displayed, therefore later on have futures in WWE and so on and so forth and in other places. So I think that obviously working together, having different promotions work together and spotlight different wrestlers is what's going to help everyone later on in the future.
Can I bring something up real quick? It's not on the list.
Of course.
Okay. While we're talking,
made the list.
While we're talking about
hijacking the show over here.
Well, while we're talking about Samoa Joe, Samoa Joe came up, and we've seen how much better Samoa Joe is being utilized in NXT, especially, but on WWE than he was when he had like the stuff on his face and had
that was the worst.
But
I hated that for
live at Raw. You were there too. Live at Raw, myself, Brandon Stroud from Uprocks, we got so excited when Joe did the interrupting the ring announcements.
Yeah.
And then we found out later that it wasn't on TV. It just happened during the commercial break, and it felt like such an important, like, star-making thing. Like the arena went nuts for it. But it's just such a bummer. It was only for the arena. It wasn't for TV. Do you think that there's a chance that whoever's in charge, Vince or whoever, is trying to see what Joe can do when it's not on TV before he gives him the chance to do that on TV? Is that how things work?
I don't know, man. Maybe, but
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but also maybe they just didn't anticipate that. Hey, we'll just do this for off the air, and then we'll come back on air. Maybe they saw how well it worked, and maybe they'll use it on air next week. Who knows? I don't know.
Do they sort of just for commercial breaks? Do they just give him free reign, like do whatever you want during a commercial break?
Yeah.
Because Joe had a live mic during the commercial break, so you would think that they would have to know that he was going to do something during the commercial break.
Yeah.
But like, what do you know what the mentality is behind like, let's do this on commercial? Is it just to keep the crowd engaged, or?
It's to keep the crowd engaged, but also you don't want to like waste anything, big moves or big spots or whatever when we're off air. Risk getting hurt while the people can't see it, things like that. So yeah, people just you know what? And since you brought that up, it's when we would go to break, like a lot of times that's when the action dies down, and I remember at first when we first started doing that, it was so uncomfortable, waiting to come back on come back from commercial, but like you had to do it. You couldn't, you couldn't waste, that stuff off air.
Well, I've noticed now when they do the picture-in-picture stuff, there's stuff that you can do. That's not, you're not gonna injure yourself or kill yourself, but there's still like little minor spots and transitional moves.
They do things. Yeah, they do things, and they do things because people are, that's an idea that I gave to TNA when they were trying to do their big war against WWE.
Right.
I'm like, to keep the people, don't, just do like a picture-in-picture. And, like, I thought that was my idea that I came up with it, but apparently NASCAR had kind of done something like that.
For a long time. Yeah. But still, no one had done it with wrestling before, so.
Yeah.
That could have been the Sean Waltman spot.
Yeah. All these big, huge ideas I've had don't get credit for. I'm so sick of it.
In 2017, all the agents backstage were doing like, let's do the Waltman gimmick where we do the picture-in-picture.
Yeah,
You need to start recording your ideas, writing them down, doing like a video vlog. Like, I just had this idea. That way people can credit you.
Michael Keaton on Night Shift.
Sean, give us the exclusive. When's the Sean Waltman book finally coming out?
He's been working on it.
Talk to Keven.
All right.
It's going to be an interesting book.
It's going to be great.
Well, when you finally get ready to announce it, make sure that you give your show the exclusive on it.
You know what? I fail to do that quite often. Trying to be buddy system with Sam Roberts or.
Like, I got news to break. Let me go over to TMZ.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, but that's worth it. Come on.
That's family.
Yeah.
That's family right here.
All right.
What else?
A WWE superstar is getting his star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, man. I hope it's D'Lo.
The Rock is getting his star.
The Rock.
She's been waiting for this story to talk about this story since we started.
I love The
She's
Rock.
in
You
her
don't
glory at the
understand how The Rock is getting his star December 13th. I'm really excited. It's also in pairing of Jumanji's coming out a couple days later, so
December 20th.
it's gonna be a whole event. I'm really excited.
Do you get
Really.
to go to the?
I mean, I can,
If
but
you want
no,
to.
it's on
If you
Wednesday.
don't want to,
Isn't it next? It's next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So are we gonna go?
The whole crew. Is
We-
gonna go down to Hollywood.
Live from the Star Walk of Fame, Grauman's
First ever
Chinese
remote
Theater.
show.
Yeah.
I wonder what piece of real estate he's getting the star
It's
on.
Hollywood and
I
Highland.
bet it's not going to be as close to Kermit the Frog as
That's
Vince's
Vince
is.
McMahon. I was just thinking
Right next to.
They
Kermit
said
the Frog.
Hollywood and Highland, so
That's-
I'm either thinking
That's right where like Vince and Kermit are, across from the El Capitan.
Oh, okay. Because Kevin Hart got his by the Marshalls by the Chinese Theater, so I'm assuming it's gonna be because that's really high real estate
Yeah.
as far as celebrities who get their stars there.
Yeah.
So
I walk down the street a little ways and I see all those old ass stars and people you don't even. I might know who some of them are, but
Well,
I
when you-
guarantee you most people are like, who
When
the
you
hell
come
is
out
that?
of that subway stop, like the first star you see is Kermit, the second star you see is Vince McMahon. That's-
Yeah.
and then Trump is there
Yeah.
too. President
But
Trump.
so something that's either completely surprising or not at all surprising, depending on like how you view the world or whatever. Rock and Vince are the only two people involved in pro wrestling
She
who
just
have
said
stars on the Walk of Fame at all.
Trump.
President Trump.
Not counting like guest stars like Trump and Cyndi Lauper, Alice
That's
Cooper,
kind of weird.
Ozzy
I wonder why
Osbourne.
like Hulk Hogan doesn't have one.
Hulk Hogan doesn't have one. Gorgeous George doesn't have one. Ric
Andre.
Flair doesn't have one.
This
Andre
is
doesn't have one.
bullshit.
You know who doesn't have one? Andy Kaufman doesn't even have a star on the Walk of Fame.
I think you should get one for $30,000.
Is that what the
Yeah.
deal is?
Yeah, it is. But but the way it works is almost always it's not the people ponying up for it
It's
or
a
whatever.
production company.
It's either a production company or it's a committee that gets together and they're like, this person should have a star on the Walk of Fame. That's how Adam West finally got one.
Well-
Is some people got together and they're like, let's get up some money.
Petition,
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, so the committee decides. So the people on, like, for instance, the Rock side puts all this information saying why he deserves a star, and then the committee approves it. And then, given the fact that, are you calling the Rock now?
Yeah.
You
I
give him
didn't
the
mean
horn.
for you to make that big of a commotion.
No
to me.
worries. I'm just saying, if you're calling him, I will definitely, they're just so good. So when they say the Rock can get it, then they paid $30,000. But because the movie's coming out, Jumanji, most likely that production company is the one that foot the bill.
But in June of last year,
Mm-hmm.
they announced that The Rock was going to be part of the 2017 class of people getting stars on the Walk of
Mm-hmm.
Fame. He's just sneaking in under the walk. But I know they planned it for a week before
Yeah.
Jumanji.
Yeah.
But
Because Kevin Hart got his the day his movie premiered. Like the timing is, especially this current celebrities, the timing is very good for them.
Yes.
But yeah.
very
I think it's
beneficial.
awesome. And it's a great crossover too. Wrestling fans, movie fans, all sorts of fans just coming
He's just
together.
amazing.
Yeah.
And looks great, the shirt off.
Looks great with
Yeah.
his shirt on too.
You should see him naked.
You seen him naked?
Come on. I
You
worked with
should.
the guy
Of
at
course he's
wrestling
seen
him. We-
I have so many
Sean's
questions.
seen every dong in
Yes.
the business.
Yes.
Is it a good dong?
Some of them twice.
How's his hog?
It's fine.
I gotta
You guys
say,
heard it? That's the exclusive.
It's like it's about,
Write that down.
it's, like it's about that big.
Is
Yeah.
it really?
No, I don't.
Oh.
You guys you heard it here first,
It's
everybody.
like,
I
Dwayne
never-
Johnson, decent hog.
It's fine. I didn't notice it being too small.
It was like, oh my gosh, you need to put something on that.
Because you only notice if it's huge or if it's too small.
Exactly.
Has he got an anteater?
No, I don't think so. No.
I gotta say though, The Rock is the only person that my grandma will sit down and watch when wrestling's on TV, and she'll just be like, "Oh," like she'll speak Spanish and just talk about him, and we'll watch his movie. She's like, goes crazy for The Rock.
Yeah.
So he has that huge impact where it just gets people.
Impact.
And he
Huge
has
impact.
and he has that impact too. Even though the movie like Baywatch was not that good, but people still
Still made hundreds
he's
of millions.
yeah
of dollars.
he's doing yeah. It made 100. But have you seen the movie?
Race to Witch Mountain was not that good, but
Yeah, some of his movies are just like you watch it because it's him. But if there's anybody else in the movie, you'll be like, this is terrible. Like
That's how Elvis movies were.
yeah.
That's how they were. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't think that. Hey, listen, The Rock has some way better movies than Elvis did. Way better. Come on.
Yeah.
Rundown. I mean, that was.
Clam bake.
Yeah. What?
Clam bake, right?
Rock didn't do
No,
Clam
no, I'm
Bake.
talking about Elvis.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Rock.
Oh, you're talking about the good
Rundown.
Okay, got it. Yeah, the rundown was awesome.
Yeah. and
Mummy.
all of that stuff.
And his
Walking
Instagram?
Tall wasn't bad at
That's
all.
what it's called.
Yeah, Walking Tall. And Central Intelligence wasn't bad either, too. His pairing with Kevin Hart.
And it's-
Get Smart was
And
fine
it's been
too.
a really long time since a Rock movie hasn't made a profit. Like even Hercules, the movie, like everybody crapped on Hercules, it made
People still go.
$250 million on a $100 million budget.
San Andreas did well,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though
really
it was
well.
kind of
Yeah.
shit on.
Moana.
Yeah.
How does everyone?
Moana's the only
Moana.
good one recently where it's just like it's.
I like
it's
Central
deserving.
Intelligence.
It's good, but it's like if you're not into that campy like
Sure,
comedy.
sure,
But
sure.
I
Moana
love San
overall.
Andreas.
Hey, wasn't there an issue wasn't there an issue like the whole Moana thing? That was supposed to there was talk of that several years back, wasn't there? Don't you remember that? And there being like an issue with the Hawaiians not
people-
wanting him to do something because he's Samoan and not Hawaiian, and there was that was an actual
There
deal.
was
at
there
one
was
point,
also
a few years
there was
ago.
also a bit of a backlash that people thought that the Maui character portrayed
The stereotypical.
Pacific Islanders
yeah.
as overweight. But I thought it was just big. Like that was my reading of it. It's just Maui's just a big demigod, not necessarily.
Pacific Islanders are generally pretty big people.
Right.
I don't understand I don't get that one. I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
For the most
while
part.
we're talking about Rock and how much box office success and clout he has, how does everyone think Ferdinand's going to do?
I think it's gonna do great.
I think it's gonna do well.
It's going to be. It's like
That's John Cena's new movie where he plays the bull that doesn't want to
the
fight
Ferdinand
anything.
the Bull, the retelling of the Ferdinand the Bull. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gonna, especially for the holidays.
Yeah, I
Kids
think
are coming out of school.
That and Coco are the only animated movies out. For
And Coco's killing
Christmas,
it.
Yeah,
right?
Coco's
Killing
killing
it.
it. But
You guys kind of rolled your eyes at me on the Pacific Islanders. A big
No.
people
No.
comment. No.
I'm with you on that.
Am I like? I'm wondering. Did I just say something I'm gonna
No,
get in
it's a
trouble
very
for?
Ask any
complicated
recruiter at Oregon
Yeah, that's-
University.
all our but I mean, obviously stereotypes are based on something. That's
Yeah.
why it's a stereotype. But obviously everybody doesn't fall into that stereotype. But yeah, I mean, they're big dudes. They're
Well, I also
6'2",
think
6'4".
I also think the movie Moana has a lot of representation of all sorts of body types of Pacific Islanders.
Yeah.
Like
I think
Maui's
her
not
mother
the only
was, like,
Pacific
yeah.
Islander in the film.
Yeah.
They're all Pacific Islanders.
Well, it's one of those things where it's the society that we're in right now.
That's it. So,
So I
hey,
think- So, are you calling
Nah.
The Rock? Is this what?
no, I'm not.
Dwayne,
not.
it's Sean. How's the hog?
I'm not. But we actually.
Just
But
want to
did-
see how many inches you really are.
But I did talk to Brian Gewirtz about coming on the show.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Poor guy. Well, he's not poor now. He's doing freaking great. But oh my God, we put him through hell. And I was a huge part of that.
We're gonna make amends live on the air.
I'm not afraid to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not for that. I mean, it would be really cool to talk to him.
Oh yeah, no, he's got a million stories to tell.
Yeah. So, hey, I think unless there's anything more you guys want to talk about,
Is everybody okay with the
think-
fires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we survived.
yeah, we're
Shout
good.
out to the firemen
For
keeping
now.
us safe out
Oh my
there.
gosh, it's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a break right now. We're gonna come back with Austin Aries.
Yeah.
What's up, party people? Roxy Stryer here from The Tomorrow Show with Keven Undergaro. We're your twice weekly broadcast of one man's midlife crisis and the mad millennials in Star Trek uniforms that follow him.
And I'm one of those millennials, Lauren Magrasso here. We've had some amazing guests like Russell Simmons, Ileana Douglas, and Craig Gass. Coolio, right?
Christian Blatt in the house to tell you to go to thetomorrowshow.com to check us out. We're live every Monday and Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern. That's thetomorrowshow.com. Be there or be square, whatever that means.
Hey, Xpac 12360 fans, I just want to tell you 2 ways that you can support the show to help it grow. First, if you've ever wanted to shout out a surprise message for various occasions from me, all you have to do is visit celebvm.com/Sean Waltman to request a video today. Not only does it support the show, but a portion of the proceeds go to charity. Second, visit ProWrestlingTees.com/Sean Waltman. That's the only place to grab shirts with the X-Pac 12360 logo, Wolfpack, or many other designs. If you pick up a shirt, make sure to tweet us using the hashtag X-Pac12360. That's celebvm.com/Sean Waltman for a personal message from me, X-Pac. And ProWrestlingTees.com/Sean Waltman for X-Pac, Wolfpack, and X-Pac 12360 gear. Thanks for supporting the show. Now let's get back to it. Welcome back to X-Pac 12360, everyone. joining us on the phone right now. Just came through customs. I think he said just came through customs. Got back from the UK. There we go, everyone. He's at the airport. Austin Aries, everyone, make some noise. Hey, man.
What's going on? You hear me?
Yeah. Hold on, everyone.
Right on, yeah.
So what's that lady saying right now, Austin?
What's that?
What's that lady saying on the loudspeaker right now?
I don't know. I'm trying to block her out.
Oh,
Some of the dangerous gels and liquids that somehow become less dangerous when you put them in a magic plastic bag.
That's right. Hey, man.
Yes.
Hey, thank you so much, man. I know, like, it was last minute. I called you and asked you to come on the show, and it's got to be a little bit of a pain in the ass just coming through customs, man. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, no problem. I had the dates mixed up because you said tomorrow, and I was in England, so I was thinking tomorrow. I actually been scheduled to land for like another 20, 30 minutes, so we landed a little early, and this is all going to work out. So it's all good.
The universe made it happen, man. Hey,
Yes, sir.
So what were you just? How long were you just in UK? Did you go from Australia right to the UK?
I went from Australia right to Milwaukee for a few days.
Oh, that's right.
Did a hardcore show there with Dreamer, and then went right to the UK for 2 days.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be home for 4 days and then go back to the UK for a week.
Yeah, because I remember you told me you had a long stretch over there. But, yeah, I don't know why I didn't remember that you were just in your own hometown, Waukesha, for a show.
What's that?
You were just in your own hometown. How was it performing in front of your own hometown, man?
It was awesome. It was great. I mean, I've been wanting to perform there for quite some time. And so, I got the opportunity with House of Hardcore. All my friends and family came out. And, it was a great night all around. It was great to see a lot of old faces, some familiar faces. And really, the crowd was packed in there. And I thought they got a really good night of professional wrestling action. And it sounds like from the Twitch standpoint, they had about almost 500,000 views on Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah, which jumped up quite a bit from the 175,000 they did from the show before.
Which doesn't
I like to
suck.
think that half of them tuned in just to see if I was going to completely melt down and do some 20-minute promo where I just started crying in the middle of the ring or something. But no, all jokes aside, man, it's very telling that you're seeing that type of viewership for House of Hardcore.
Yeah, I saw a picture from up in the stands looking down at the venue, and it looked like it was full. It looked like a hell of a crowd, man. And it's not it's not easy to draw a crowd up in that area.
No, and you know what? Dave Hero's been doing it for a number of years, and it's kind of built that. Tommy's taking it over and taking it to that next level. And I think too, I'd like to think that having me a part of the card helped being kind of the hometown kid, literally Waukesha, Wisconsin is where I grew up. So I knew a lot of actual people came out on my side to support me. So, but yeah, man, it was a great crowd, great atmosphere, and all around, just a really cool night of professional wrestling. Yeah,
and we teamed, and it was really cool teaming with you over in Australia, man. That was a great tour. I was late sending a tweet out last night. It was and I meant every word in it, man. It was an honor being on that tour with you guys. It was really fun.
Oh, I agree 100%. They got a good thing going on over there with World Series Wrestling, and I'm looking forward to go back in March. Hopefully, we get you back over there too, and we can do some more tag team action. I think we got some legs there. You guys, hot young up and coming tag team.
That's it, man. They should have a tag tournament, or is that the thing that they're going to do in March?
Yeah, I think they're going to do we crowned the World Series Wrestling Champion this tour, which. They're happy to say I was able to capture by the end of the tour, and I think come March they're going to do the tag championships. And they got the Young Bucks coming over there. The Briscoes so far been announced.
And the first night, the first night of the tour, I think it was Melbourne. They showed on the big screen. They showed the Young Bucks. They shot a little promo, and the people went apeshit for it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, those guys are as hot as anybody right now. So to be able to, to get them coming over and contributing for World Series Wrestling is huge.
And on the last night, hey, man, I came out and watched your match with Ricochet and It was I watched the triple threat. You, Ricochet, and who's the other guy?
Brian Cage.
No.
Brian Cage.
Oh no, it was you in a singles match versus Ricochet, and Brian Cage came out. Yes, that's right. What a match, man! You guys killed it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Obviously, Ricochet right now, as far as high flyers and some of the things he does athletically, is at a different level. And I think there's a part of me that feels at this point in my career, maybe I've been written off by some people. And it's my opportunity to go out there and show that I can still perform at a high level and get there with the best of them. And I think I proved that. I think this tour for me, it kind of relit a fire under my ass.
Yeah, I can tell, man, because
we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Some of the difficulties you can have when your creativity gets taken away from you, when you're being told who you are and who you aren't, you can start to believe that shit.
That's
right.
right.
Sometimes you go out there and remind yourself exactly who you are and who you can be.
Yeah, man, sometimes we get like that, and our head gets filled with doubt, man, and it's BS, man. Because I saw that, I could tell that, like, you had a little bit of that, like even at the start of the tour, but like it went away really quick, man, because you were killing it every night.
I appreciate that. Obviously, when you get to getting there with guys. Getting the guys with caliber of Ricochet and Brian Cage, you have to step your game up, right? They're going to bring it. They're hungry, and you need to come with that same hunger and perform. So it was a great tour for me. In a number of aspects, obviously getting to hang with you guys, team with you was awesome. I mean, financially, I think everybody was really happy. They were happy with how professionally it was run. But then for me personally, it just kind of reinvigorated me too.
Yeah, and also you brought a case of books over, and you came back with none.
That's great.
Yeah, I sold 3 boxes of books in the first 3 nights, and unfortunately, for Sydney, there was nothing left. So I'll have to make sure that I have some extra ones over there next time.
Yeah, my producer on the couch over here, Jimbo, he's wearing your shirt right now.
This is Vegan X.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Y.
Generation X.
Yeah,
Why?
Because
it's good for you.
Which
I had to explain to somebody on Twitter. It was like, why is there a Y? Why isn't there a V? It's like, why? ? Because it's good for you.
They got
yes.
it. Yeah, they got
right.
it.
And I don't want, you already had a Generation X. We're taking the next step to the Generation Y. It's the next progression.
You guys should be Generation Abs with the two of you.
Hey,
man, no kidding.
Hey, so about that shitty ring we worked in at Brisbane.
Oh man, yeah, that was something else.
Yeah.
You know what? Listen, when we got there, the first person who came up to me was actually the man contracted that evening for the ring.
Yeah.
That's why I make this clear that this wasn't World Series wrestling ring. This wasn't Adrian Monero. This was the man that he contracted to provide the ring. And the guy really misrepresented the quality of the ring, the condition of the ring. And so when I walked in, he was actually the first guy to come up to me, introduce himself. Hey, I'm the guy with the ring. If there's anything, anything about it, let me know. And just from the eye test, I said, well, what's up with the slip and slide tarp? There's no canvas on there, which is always one of the first things I hate to compete on. That thing gets wet, that gets oily, that becomes a risk real quick.
Slip and slide. Exactly.
So yeah, it really is. And he's like, well, we have people wiping it down in between matches. And so, well, that's great, but what about during the match? Because the first time you go for a pinfall on a guy, first time the guy's laying on that thing, it's going to get slick, and so that creates a hazard. And he had some reason and excuse why he didn't have the canvas. But I didn't get a chance to get in the ring before we went out there, and when I actually got in the ring, man, it was 10 times worse than it looked. There was uneven padding. There wasn't padding in some places, and the main place there wasn't any padding was on the aprons.
Yeah.
And again, in that tag match, we had a lot of exposed metal, and I got my eye busted open. Not by my opponent, but by the ring. And I was a little hot. I'm not going to lie, as I'm sure you heard afterwards. And I had a few choice words. And I appreciate you cluing the fans in a little bit more, because I probably could have been a little more in depth with why I was so upset.
Yeah. Hey, I don't blame you, man.
But,
I really don't. Yeah, it wasn't the ideal way to end end the our segment, so to speak. But bro,
Yeah,
that's
think
how.
about a roller coaster ride, Sean. We had it up high, and I just wanted to yank the carpet out from underneath.
Yeah,
You know?
but the thing is, man, is I wouldn't worry about it so much, man, because just keep it real, man. Just keep being you. Sometimes you might rub people the wrong way, sometimes, but hey, man, it's keeping it real, and that's what the people want, really.
And that's where I'm at. And that's why I've adopted this moniker of the truth, because that's the last thing. That's the only thing you can give people.
Yeah.
And in this profession where everyone's constantly working you, and nobody can, and you feel like nobody really is giving you the truth.
Yeah.
I want to be the one person that people can look at and say that's exactly what's happening. And as far as this goes, I know a lot of the boys thanked me. They thanked me for saying what they were thinking. The gentleman whose ring it was actually thanked me for calling him out publicly, because he said now he's under the microscope and he has to get that fixed and get that right. Because
what else?
You can't put the performers at risk.
What was that guy going to actually say, though, other than come with his hat in his hand and beg off like that? That's exactly what he should have done.
I'm in the middle of an interview, sir. I just need to get through here.
Hey, are you getting asked for an autograph?
Honestly, right? You're in customs right now, right? You're not supposed to use your phone at all.
I understand.
Okay, because right now I'm doing an interview. No one could actually be hearing what I'm saying.
My apologies.
What's going on?
He's going through customs.
Can I just? I thought it was through the process. I thought I was just getting my bags here.
Here, you can't use your phone.
No, I understand. I understand. Thank you.
Where are you coming from?
England.
How long were you there?
2 days.
What was the purpose?
Business.
How much money you travel with? First,
How much money am I traveling with? I got probably a couple grand on me.
How much a couple of grand?
Like I didn't count it. Like a couple grand. No, not that much. A couple grand. It's like 2. Thank you.
This is good stuff. Hey, this is good shit. This is the kind of shit you won't hear usually.
Getting busted here by security.
Hey, it's
very
great.
secure here.
Hey, we're loving it. We're loving it.
Yeah. How much money you travel with? A couple of grand. How much is a couple? 8 or 9? No, a couple's 2. That's a couple.
I'll tell you off air about my coming back through customs. Boy, that's a story. I'm not going to share on air. Yeah,
All
we're
right.
fine. We're fine.
All right, we're good.
Okay. So, anyways.
Well, you talked about this new moniker, The Truth, and speaking how you feel. Do you think maybe down the line for you there might be a segment or maybe a show of your own where you sit and not really critique other wrestlers, but you just tell people how it is for people that want advice on their career, and you just tell them the truth?
One more time, you're breaking up me just a little bit.
Maybe down the line for you, a segment or a show of your own where you just tell people the truth, like young, inspiring wrestlers that would ask you to watch their match and get a critique, but you just tell them like it is.
Yeah, I mean, there could be something to that. I got some stuff in the works. After doing some of these podcasts and things, I realized there could be some interest in that. I could bring a little different perspective and a little different slant on your typical wrestling podcast. And so, I think, getting into 2018, there's some stuff that could come to fruition that would allow me the platform to do something like that. Because we all love wrestling, don't get me wrong, but, I like to say wrestling's what I do for a living. It's not who I am. And for a long time, I thought maybe it was who I am, but I realized that I'm so much more. And that doesn't mean I don't love wrestling and I don't give my everything to it, but there's a lot more to me than just professional wrestler Austin Aries. And I think that, a lot of people are interested in that. That's the type of stuff they can identify with and connect with. And even my House of Hardcore promo, which, it had very strong reactions on both sides. But at the end of the day, I want to go out there. I knew what people were expecting me to say, and I want to go out there and deliver something that was different. And also, just kind of, again, come out and tell the truth. I'm a real person like everybody else. Just because I get to do something really cool for a living, where I portray a larger-than-life character or a real-life superhero, I'm just a regular person like a lot of people out there, deal with the same issues, have the same feelings, and I think it's important to share that.
I really enjoyed this promo at House of Hardcore. I thought, for lack of a better word, it was the truth. You were honest with yourself and with the crowd, and when you said, I'm a babyface, I believe in these, and I have morals, and this is how I want to wrestle, and this is how I want to be in life, and I could point tons of fingers, but I really need to look in the mirror and focus on myself. how could anyone not relate to that? So
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
and let's
this
be
promo.
fair.
I thought it
People
was
don't
great.
come to a wrestling show. People don't come to a wrestling show to talk about those things. They come there to forget about their problems, not to face them, and not to have to be faced with them. And so I get why for some people that wasn't exactly what they wanted, and especially those four guys in the front row. They were the first ones to kind of get my ass a little bit and start heckling me. I thought to myself, if you're a 40-year-old man and you're eight beers in on the Saturday night front row of a wrestling show, you can't tell me that you're happy with all the facets of your life, because if you were, I don't think that's where you'd be. I don't think that's how you'd be acting. But right after the match, those are the first four guys to get up in the front row, and I gave them all a hug, and they told me how much they appreciated me, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. Like, it's not so much. Shitty things are going to come your way in life. Shitty people are going to come your way in life. What you do with it is up to you.
So, Austin, you mentioned that you had a hard time, some difficulties and whatnot. What was your process like mentally to kind of get back out there and continue in this industry?
You're gonna have to give me that one more time.
So, you mentioned that you had a hard time, some rough patches. What was it like mentally to get back out there and continue in this industry? What was your process like?
I don't know why I can't hear you. I can hear everybody else fine. But
can you get me now? Hello? Hi?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I wanted to know, what was your process like in terms of getting back out there? I know you mentioned you were going through a rough patch. What was it like mentally to get back out there in this industry?
Obviously I had to bide my time. I had some restrictions as far as my no-compete clause, and during that time, my goal was just getting healthy. I had a herniated disc in my neck. It was causing some issues that I had to get right before I could even think about getting back in the ring. But I'm really lucky and thankful that my opportunities were endless. I had so many people reaching out to try to get me booked on their shows and bring me in that I really had the opportunity to pick and choose where I wanted to go, make my own schedule, decide where I wanted to kind of stamp my name. And once I was able to do that, it was just a process of figuring out, at this point in my career, what direction I want to take things. Because there was really a kind of an open road, and I could have taken it a number of different ways. And so now I'm just kind of settling into the next chapter of my career, and again, trying to focus on the positives of life. Because really, at the end of the day, whatever you want to see is what you're going to find. So I'm going to try to find all the positives amongst sometimes the sea of negatives.
Well, I know you have I believe, a 6-month contract with Defiant Wrestling. Were you ever contacted, though, by the new regime at Impact to come back?
We had some talks. And really, for me, the only position I was interested in there was a position of being a decision maker. I told Dixie when I left there, I wouldn't come back and work for anybody, but I'd come back and work with anybody. But if I was going to come back there, I had to be in a position to actually make a difference. I know they just went through a big regime change, and I know we have some discussions about me coming in there and possibly being a part of that team. But I just felt right now where I'm at in my career and all the possibilities and things I have in front of me, I really couldn't invest myself emotionally into that because, let's be honest, they've got a lot of work to do there. They've done a lot of bad business over the years, and they've got a lot to overcome. I think the guys that are in charge there now know that. And, I wish them luck because, listen, the more places there are for guys to work, the more profitable and successful wrestling organizations there are, it's better for everybody. And just touching upon the whole Defiant 6-month contract thing, there's no 6-month contract. You'll see how this all plays out. I am contracted to do a number of shows for them over the next few months, but I haven't signed a contract with anybody, nor do I intend to sign a contract with anybody that would restrict me from anything else. So. I'm enjoying being a true free agent. I'm enjoying having a lot of say creatively, schedule-wise, over what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. And, right now, I don't know that anybody could pay me enough to give that up.
Hey, man, were you, when you first left, when you were first parted ways with WWE, were you concerned, man? Were you worried that you weren't going to have that, people coming after you, wanting you to come work for them?
I'll be honest, man. I didn't know what the other side looked like.
Yeah.
I'd only been gone a year and a half, but even before that, I had some time, coming off of my run with TNA and stuff like that. I just didn't know what the landscape looked like. So I didn't really know what to expect. And really my main concern initially was just getting healthy.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't in condition to really be resting a full-time schedule at all. So, you know, I knew I had 90 days to just really focus on trying to get back to where I needed to be physically. And I'm still getting back there. I'm lean right now, but I'm probably as light as I've been in a number of years. I'd like to put some of my size back on. You know, so that's still some things I'm working on. But I'll be honest, Sean, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was, but I'll tell you what, from the minute the announcement was dropped, the minute that they put their tweet out, man, my inbox flooded, and very quickly I said, okay, I think I'm going to be all right here. But now it's about not whoring yourself out and taking every single booking or every single signing. I had a number of, you want to do this convention, you want to do that convention. And I started thinking long game, you know, long term and not short term, and realized it was more important to pick and choose my spots carefully than just kind of, you know, taking everything that was coming my way.
Yeah, and also, man, it's like it is important to try and vet some of these promotions because there's a ton of them out there, and a lot of them can come up with the money, but once you get there, you don't feel too good about being there. You know what I mean?
And I'll be honest, man, and I'm blessed to be in this position, but that is more important to me. And you know me, man, we've talked about this. Money's never been my end game. That's not been my be-all, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I want to make sure that, listen, I think there's a right way and a wrong way to go about this business. There's a right way and a wrong way to treat people. And I don't want to stamp my name of approval on places that aren't doing it the right way, or at least trying to do it the right way. And so, yeah, it's very important to me that if I show up somewhere, it's because I believe in what you're doing or what you're trying to do. And if I feel at any point that shifts, I have no problem walking away from that. 'Cause I'm not going to attach my name to places that are doing the old way of business in this profession. We want to move this shit forward. You know, we want to have places where guys can go make a good living, be treated. Listen, we're the performers. In every other entertainment industry, we drive the bus.
That's right.
For some reason, in the professional wrestling industry, we're told to get to the back of the bus and just take what we're given. Yeah. That's bullshit. You know, there's no other entertainment industry where they go, well, yeah, if you want to come do this movie shoot, you know, rent your own car, rent your own hotel, pay all your own expenses, you know, and oh, by the way, you can't do any other movies for anybody else. Oh, and you don't know what your role is either. Just hope and pray that we put you in the right spot. I mean, that's only in this industry, man, and it's mind-boggling because I've done commercials. I did a CoverGirl commercial years back, and trust me, I wasn't the focal point of the commercial whatsoever.
Was that when you got casted for your tattoo? Was that when you got casted for your tattoo? Is it that commercial?
Yeah, I got cast for my tattoo, and with Kerry Russell, you know, a lipstick commercial. But you know, I was being brought in because I could physically, you know, I was a stunt guy, for lack of a better term. But the way I was treated there, as really a nobody on this commercial, was 10 times better than I was being treated all these places where I was a top guy as a wrestler. And it was really eye-opening to me, the difference in the way things are. So, you know, really, but at the end of the day, it's up to the talent to say, you know, and really demand that we need to be treated a certain way. And if we're not going to be, or you're not going to treat us that way, then I'm not coming to work for your show. Yeah. And, you know, that's one thing now when I do these seminars, I try to really instill in these young guys. At the end of the day, you determine your worth, you determine your value, and you basically tell people what isn't acceptable and how you'll be treated.
You know what something you told me when we were talking while we were in Australia, I might have been even, no, it wasn't on the way there because we weren't on the same flight, but you were mentioning how you get on the plane sometimes and walk past all these people that are sitting in first class looking down on you that aren't even, you know.
Oh,
yeah. Like, you know,
writers,
production guys, people that haven't been there very long, and then they're, you know, think they're, because somehow they're sitting up front that they're, you know, they're better than you or whatever. And that
they actually
really,
believe it. And and let's be honest, in the old days, Sean, what should they have done? They should have got their ass up and they should have said, "Here, please take my seat."
That's what would have happened. Or they would have been, you know, they would have felt the wrath. Honestly, like, I don't want to put it that way, but I don't know. Like back in my day, when if I was sitting in first class, if I got an upgrade, and I saw somebody like that had to go sit in the back, that was, you know, say like a Mr. Fuji or somebody, you know. Sure. And no, you would get up and give them your seat, and that's what you did out of respect, or
Sean, or even maybe give it to a younger guy just to show him a little bit of love.
Yeah,
you know, like, seriously, like, it's just, and again, that's just one of the things now, how that's sometimes a hard pill to swallow. You know, when I went up to the main roster, it was as a commentator,
Yeah.
So I was doing all the commentator things. You know, I was staying in the TV hotels. I was valeting my car like everybody else did. The production guys, the writers, the commentators. I was doing it how they did it. And I realized, like, when you get switched over to talent, everything changes, man. Because you're not, those things aren't being paid for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I almost felt that when I was being switched over, like, my lifestyle was being changed for the worse. I didn't get to stay in the night. I mean, I could still stay in the nice hotels, and I still could valet that. But that's not what we do, right? We're trying to cut costs. We're trying to save a penny.
Sure.
And but yet these guys are all rolling and big dicking it around and getting to live the lifestyle. And yet we're the ones out there putting our bodies on the line at the end of the day. And we're the ones that, without us, none of those guys are necessary. Without the talent, those guys don't have jobs because we don't need them.
Hey, easy,
man. And that's the thing that's being missed, man. No offense to any of the writers, but I could do your job in a week.
Hey,
you can do my job in a lifetime.
Hey, look, I don't have a problem with the writers, but hey, man, that's backbreaking work they're doing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I don't have a problem with the writers either. They have a difficult job all the same.
Yeah.
But it's a mentality. It's a mentality that somehow, somehow again. And I'm walking by them in first class, and they're believing that somehow this makes them better than me.
Yeah.
That can rub a person the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, talking about seminars and advice given, this made me think of some of the best advice I'd ever received in life, let alone from someone in wrestling, was from you after a PWG show. Everyone was going up and asking you for pictures, and you would tell them, you could say please, and you then told me please and thank you are two words that don't cost anything but are worth a lot. And that always stuck with me.
Yes.
Who told you that, and what other advice do you give to people that ask for advice, I guess you would say?
You know, I don't know if anybody told me that. You know, I know, like, you know, growing up, my grandmother was really big on instilling values, holding the door open to somebody, saying please and thank you. And it just seems to be something really lost. You know, now it's a lot of gimme. Hey, give me this, give me that. And, you know, it really is, you know, and I feel like, all right, so my proposal, what's the magic? You'd be surprised when I say, what's the magic word? I get a lot of answers other than the simple please or a thank you, because people just don't know what the magic word is anymore. And it really is such a simple thing because it doesn't cost anything, but it's got great value when you use it. So why not use it?
Hey, did they not know?
And it's just things like, you know, just simple things like that, man.
Did they not know the magic word at the airport when they were messing with us, trying to get pictures and stuff?
You know what? They didn't know what, you know. They were such big fans. They didn't need the magic word.
That's right.
You know, apparently. Listen,
because you
I
owe
talked to
them.
those guys
They paid your bills.
What's that?
They paid your bills, man. You owe them.
Yeah. If they paid if those guys paid my bills, I'd be in big trouble. And it was just those guys.
Yeah.
Listen, those guys were at the show the night before. I remember talking to them. You know, tell me what big fans they were. I'm not offended if you don't want to buy something. That's cool, man. I appreciate you coming up and talking to me. Tell me you're a big fan of mine, shaking my hand. It doesn't bother me in the least. What does bother me is that it became very quickly apparent that these guys thought they were going to be better than everybody else that was there the night before. That they were going to circumvent actually buying anything from anybody, and they would just show up at the airport the next day with their professional camera in hand, and literally was not off the bus before these guys are asking for pictures and autographs. And mind you, man, and you were saying, man, I don't know how that box made it through that whole trip of yours, man. that should go.
My box of shirts.
That should go in the Smithsonian, right? But you know, I threw roller bags plus a merchandise box. Like, I'm trying to lug like 4 of these bags in, and these guys are hunting me for a picture. Like, yo, guys, like, I don't have time for this. Like, we're trying to catch a flight, and I told them, hey, if you want to take a picture, you have a camera. I can't stop you from taking a picture, but I sure as hell can't stop and pose. That's why I was there last night. Oh, come on, man, we're just such big fans. Now, here's what you could have done in this situation, guys, and take this as a lesson, fans. If you see me struggle with 3 or 4 roller bags, then maybe offer, well, hey, can I maybe help you with one of your bags? Let me help you with, like, something, right? But all you were worried about was getting your picture and your autograph because you're such big fans. And, you know, I told him, like, hey, man, like, I'm trying to make my flight. Take a picture if you want. I'm not stopping and posing. That's why I was there last night. And, but more importantly, man, you know, there was a lot of fans that waited patiently and did spend their hard-earned money to get a picture with you, to buy your shirt, to get a picture with me, Joey Ryan, whoever it was. And these 3 guys thought that they were going to be better than all those people, smarter than all those people. And out of respect to all those fans who did come that night and did spend their money, I'm not going to give these 3 jerks the time of the day because they thought that they were going to be smarter than everybody else, and they're not. And they came about it the whole wrong way.
Yeah.
I asked them, hey, guys, Did you buy anything from anybody last night? And they just looked at each other. I said, okay, then I see what you're about. And I'm not, and I'm not gonna reward that shit because that to me is not cool. And they didn't really respect that. I mean, they hounded everybody down as they were trying to go through security, and that's why when I went over to the airline reps and said, can you just get these guys out of here? They're not flying anywhere. They don't have a ticket, and they've been nothing but harassing us since we got off this bus.
Yeah. And the thing is Austin, the people at the show that stood in line and bought something from different guys, man, a lot of those people, that was probably the last dollar they had, and they still came, and it was important enough for them that you know, they wanted to support us.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you know, and I know, like, it ain't about that last $20. You know what I'm saying? It's not about that. I don't know how many of those things I'll give away, or I'll throw an extra one of this in, or guys, I only got this much, don't worry about it. It's not about that, man. But out of respect to those people who do show the appreciation, because that is how we supplement our income. You know, these guys had a plan, and this wasn't like they randomly ran into us at the airport and said, oh, my God, what do you guys do here? They had a plan from day one to say, we're not going to spend any money on this shit. We're smarter fans than the rest of these marks, and we're going to show up at the airport and expect that this should be handed to us because we're such big fans. Yeah. And that sense of entitlement, that don't fly with me, and I'll quickly put you in your place. And, you know, and you know what? I could have predicted the exact response that those guys had, which was they're the mentality of we owe them, they pay our bills, without them, we're nothing. And to those three guys, no, I don't owe you a goddamn thing other than when I come out to perform that night for the ticket that you bought at that show, I'm going to give you everything I have. And outside of that, I don't owe you a goddamn thing.
Look, man, I mean, that's not, like, I mean, I would probably say it nicer, but I agree with you 110% on that. 110. It's true, man. It's an even trade. They pay, you know, the price for the ticket, and we go out there and we bust our ass and sacrifice our bodies. And so at the end of that exchange, there's no one owes anybody anything. Anything that's done above and beyond that is out of gratitude. That's how I look at it. Right. And I'm very grateful, and I love all the fans. I do.
Absolutely. And again, these weren't kids. These weren't, you know, teenagers. These were grown men with their binders full of their stuff they wanted signed and their pictures they wanted signed. And
multiple.
You know, that's the whole thing. Is
multiple
pictures. Context is everything nowadays, and it's not black and white, man. Everything's context. And when I understood exactly what these guys were trying to do, I made a decision that I wasn't going to be a part of it.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, the last, I guess you could consider it fist fight I was ever in was when I was with Austin Aries.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear this story.
I remember this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I don't know if we can tell this one.
No, we can. Yeah. It was, we were you don't mind me saying you were in a strip club. I guess with me, I guess it's too late. I already just did. It was someone's birthday party that just happened to be at an establishment where ladies were taking their clothes off. It was actually Howard Words from Florida Underground Wrestling's birthday party.
There we go.
Yeah, and no, but they all but man, they were freaking starting trouble and talking crap.
Who's starting trouble?
Like the people we were with, and these other people, like, and this guy was talking all kinds of mad shit, and like it seemed like everyone was scared to do something. Then something went off, and like the people we were with were kind of getting punked, and so I had enough. And like I got one bad knee, like, and I run across I'm like run. I got about a 50-foot start, right? And so like I barely got the guy. Like I didn't hit him. Like I was gonna, but he kind of moved out of the way. But I grabbed him enough to knock him to the ground. And he had like 1 foot in a cast or something too.
Yeah.
So you guys were even. You had a bad knee and a foot in a cast.
Here's what I remember, Sean.
Yeah, please, you tell him.
Well, I mean, what I remember was that you were actually being one of the guys who was trying to diffuse the situation. I'm a diffuser.
Yes.
I'm not a big physical confrontation guy, because usually nobody wins in that situation, and sometimes people lose big because you knock a guy out, he cracks his head, he kills himself, and now you're sitting in jail. I mean, just very, very rarely do those situations does anybody walk out of it feeling good. So I've always been the diffuser, and I remember that night, like, you were also trying to be a voice of reason.
Yeah.
And so voices of reason are trying to be voices of reason, and these guys were walking away, and then they just had to turn around and say one last thing. to be one, to save face or to be that tough guy. And I remember you just kind of snapped because you were just like trying to give these guys an out. I'm trying to give these guys an opportunity to just walk the fuck away and not have there be a situation. And when that guy didn't want to take it, you just said, all right, enough's enough. And you kind of led the charge. And yeah, you're pretty fast. You're pretty quick. I was at least good 15 yards behind you. And he's probably better that you got there first because some of the other guys that got there, you probably would have been in the worst way because you weren't trying to maim the guy. I think you were just trying to teach him a lesson. And sometimes you got to know when to walk away. And
Yeah, I mounted the guy and I hit him a couple times until he said, "Oh, I'm done." And then one of the other guys came over and tried to put the boots to him. I said, "No, he's done. Don't you do it."
Right.
And then the guy got up and he started talking shit again as he was running into the hotel.
Yeah. It's just like total mayhem. Everyone in the club fighting.
It was just silly. No.
Oh, okay. It was just you and this.
And this guy. Anyways, this guy actually stole a couple of shots on some people we were with. Like actually got in. That's the thing that pissed me off. Worse than anything. I'm like, you guys talk shit and then you let yourselves get punked like that. Jesus. Anyways, it was ended up being fun. We got out of there really quick after that.
Yeah,
I remember
where do you go from there?
Yeah. So.
And that was your last fist fight.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I can't
and
remember.
The last time I've ever been in that type of establishment.
I think it's actually one of the last times. Oh no, never mind. No.
So, Austin,
the sarcasm wasn't coming through on the telephone or on that one, huh?
So, Austin, earlier we were talking about how you were doing commentating when you first came into WWE. You were actually really good at it. Is that ever something that you've considered to do later on in the future?
I'd love to. It was an awesome experience, and I tell people it was really the only opportunity that you had to really hear who Austin Aries was, because that was one of the few times where I didn't have somebody else tell me what I should be saying or what I should be doing. So that was about as authentic as you were going to get out of me. And the fact that it was well received, was pretty cool. And it definitely learned a lot. And working with Michael Cole, Marl, working with him a little bit, who I have a lot of respect for. It really opened my eyes to the other side of things. And those guys have a difficult job. It's not easy. And definitely something that, once my in-ring days are behind me, I'd love to go back and explore.
How did the banana thing come about?
And it just came about. Like, literally, I was after a match, they wanted to film a promo, and I grabbed a banana in the water, and I started asking questions about the banana and if I was going to have the banana in the promo. And I quickly realized, like, that this was something that it was going to be something. The whole point of it wasn't supposed to be anything, and that was the whole point. But again, I think sometimes it's hard for some of the creative team to wrap their head around something that doesn't have a rhyme or reason, or that they didn't write in the script. Yeah. And I think that's what maybe makes things stale at times, because everything has to have a reason. And this was just literally something that didn't have to have a reason. I literally had a banana in my hand, and once I realized how confusing it was making people, how confused people were, and that actually it was making people giggle, I said, you know what, I'm gonna kind of roll with this little thing, and I wore it in my suit coat pocket as opposed to a handkerchief. My first night of commentary, and I just kind of went from there. And it was never supposed to be a thing. That was the whole point of it. And but now it's kind of become a thing. And I get people tweeting me and sending messages all the time with bananas and how they think of me when they see bananas. And
they bring you bananas to the show.
With. I've been dubbed the Pope of Potassium by Matt Camp. So I'm going to stick with that one and get some shirts made up.
Also, we got to get you booked against the Space Monkey now.
I got some. Well, yeah, and I also got some Chiquita Aries stickers that I have printed out.
Oh yeah, I did.
On my bananas to brand my own bananas. I'm like the Chiquita, woman, but it's me, and I got the fruit basket fruit on my hat, and Chiquita great. Aries, and we're gonna market the hell out of it.
Hey, what did Vince say about the banana?
So the first time I met him, I told him, hey, I've been getting this banana thing over, and he just I said, no, Vince, hear me out. Hear me out, Vic. It's not a thing. It's not like Carlito where I always have a banana. It's like, but, I kind of explained it to him. I said, eventually I'd like to market this. I said, I'd like to market protected banana case holders because nobody likes to bruise or smush a banana when you're traveling. I'm like, and I think they'll think, I sit and think, bananas like 29 cents a pound. Think of the money we can make. And just look at me like, who the hell is this guy? And just, okay. We'll get some bananas down the road.
That was something that just.
But you know what? Sure shit, I got bananas over, goddammit.
Yes.
So, and now I got kids clamoring over my banana peels. I mean, Jesus Christ.
And that's clearly something that you came up with and sort of snowballed and took off on its own. But what was your reaction when people on the internet tried to take credit for them being the reason why you were getting a banana over?
I mean, hey, dude, those guys are going to be those guys. That there's subcultures within subcultures within subcultures, and when I was brought to my attention that there's these dudes on Reddit or whatever that a year and a half before that had said, hey, if there's supposedly some other wrestler on there, and to give us the wink and the nod of who you are, say the word banana promo. So, of course, in all their wisdom, they figured I waited a year and a half to introduce the banana in my promo, and of course, it was all because of them. So, if that makes them feel cool and makes them feel better about themselves, then sure, guys. That was my wink and my nod to you guys. I love you guys on Reddit. You're the best.
Me too. I love them. Hey, did you do? Had you ever done commentary before you got to WWE?
No, that was my first night. Was 205 Live, and
okay.
I knew it was a huge opportunity, and I was probably as nervous for that as any match I'd had up to that point because I know Vince didn't know who the hell I was.
Yeah. Did you?
He'd been probably told who I was, but really it was make or break. If this guy, if I could do a well enough job that he saw some value in my talking abilities, that would open up some doors, and it did. Did you find it difficult to do commentary while you were being talked to in your ear? Yes and no. I'll be honest. I didn't get a lot of talking to in my ear.
Oh, you didn't?
I think they just wanted to hand me. They wanted to hand me some rope and just see if I'd hang myself.
Huh.
But I didn't get a lot of direction. And really the first couple of nights, I knew it was more important. It wasn't so much what I said as much as what I didn't say. It was making sure that I picked my spots because again, you got a 3-man team. You don't want to be stepping on everybody. So I was just really trying to mind the rules and the procedures of what we do because there are. There's a right way and a wrong way to do that. And there was a lot of traffic in your ear. And to be honest, I had the easiest job because I just had to be a personality. I didn't have to worry about, some of the other things that the other announcers have to do as far as later on tonight or replays or things like that. I literally just had to be a character. So I had the easiest job of the commentators. And I just wanted to make sure that, I just was trying to get in where I fit in, and it was as important as not so much what I said as what I didn't say. And then from there, as I got more comfortable, and I got more pointers, I got more feedback from Michael and the other commentators. It allowed me to keep developing. And by the end, I felt really comfortable and was really willing to take on more of a role. And I think that's even, when they told me they didn't have anything for me creatively, I was like, nothing. Even commentary was something I'd be interested in doing, but I'm still young and I still got a lot left to give to the industry. So maybe at some point, we circle back around and I find myself back in that position.
Hey man, when you came in on was it Neville that you came in and knocked the living crap? The people went ape shit for that, man. That was that might have been the biggest pop of the night, that night.
Yeah, and it was in Chicago, which is
no wonder
territory.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, you come back feeling really good about that, but then in retrospect, I wonder if that maybe did do me some favors in some people's eyes. Because I did get one of the biggest pops that night, and it wasn't because of something that they created as much as something that I was creating on my own during commentary. And here nor there, I was the reaction was awesome, and I really thought, okay, we got something here. This has some legs, and we could do some really cool stuff with it. And we did the best we could with what we were given.
Yeah. Well, and then I saw you at WrestleMania, and we talked and that, but I had no idea you were kind of in as bad of a place, mentally from what was going on around there, because you did a pretty good job covering it up.
Yeah, listen, it was just, it was just a lot of stuff, man. Just a lot of stuff going on, and really the physical part too. Having some issues physically. Yeah. So that and you know how that is. Then you don't look and feel like you'd like to, especially for such a big event. And just again some other stuff going on in my private life with us passing away and trying to move and the family stuff, and all these other things. And again, the speed of which the WWE moves is that if you're not on top of stuff, it'll snowball really quick on you.
Damn right.
And being organized has never been one of my strong suits. Part of having ADD or kind of living with that is the not always being able to be organized, not being able to be focused.
Yeah.
And when stuff moves that fast, it'll pile up really quick, and it was piling up pretty quick. And I never got comfortable there because it felt like every time I started to get comfortable, something changed.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, it was really telling to myself as I was leading up and doing all these interviews and all these pressers for WrestleMania 33, and everyone going, how's it feel? This is like the biggest moment of your career. Like you finally reach it, and like I literally was having to manufacture this joy.
Yeah.
That really should have been there, and that was kind of for me. I kind of asked myself, like, man, like what's going on? Because you should be really excited about this.
Yeah, man.
And Hardy's like, man, I can't wait till this shit's over.
Yeah, man, that makes me really sad to hear that was the case, because that should be the time you should have been able to bask in the glory of being at WrestleMania, man, and
sure.
soak all
and
that in.
Don't get me wrong, like I did, man. Like, and trust me, when I walked out there that night, when I walked out my music hit, and I walked out there and I saw the people,
Yeah.
and I walked out and my family was all sitting there, right up close, and I saw them. I did have those moments.
Yeah.
I absolutely did. So don't think I didn't. Having those moments of gratitude and appreciation and really like thinking, man, how fucking cool is this? Because I did. But there was a lot of other moments leading up to it where, it was more stress than it was joy. And, so, but that's just being real, and I absolutely look back at it and I always say it was, one of the greatest accomplishments of my career. Was one of those things I never really thought I'd have the opportunity to do. I don't know that people in the company thought I'd be in that position when I initially walked in there. I packed a lot of shit in 18 months, and a lot of it I don't think I was earmarked for. And I'm really grateful for the opportunities I was given there, and also, the platform it gave me to now be able to go and do what I want to do. And really, the opportunities I have now are very much associated with, being with WWE, and the time I spent there has allowed me now to come out on the other side in a very advantageous place.
Hey, how did you feel about your match? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, I was happy with it.
Yeah.
You know what? Listen, I've never felt comfortable in a babyface role. It's never felt natural to me. So, trying to figure that part out. But yeah, you know what? Listen, we went out there, and again, I said we did the best of what we were given, and you know how it is. We right or wrong, you're not giving carte blanche and just go out there and do what you want, because it is a team. It's a team effort, and you have to be mindful of what's after you. You have to be mindful of what other people are doing on the card, and that's important. It is important. So, with those parameters, and that's the thing that fans have to understand. We all have parameters that we have to work around, no matter where we are.
Yeah.
With that, we go out and we try to give the best we could, and also, I think, both Neville and I had a fire lit underneath us to go out there and say, listen, if our job is to go kick off this night, then let's go do that to the best of our ability. And I think we went out there and put on a good performance.
Oh, for
got
sure.
a lot of good feedback from fans that were there.
Oh, absolutely.
And, yeah, man, I was happy with it.
Good.
But I'll be honest, man. There's never any of my matches I watch back and I like them. I'm my harshest critic at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I try to be my biggest fan, but I'm definitely my harshest critic. So, I look back at that and go, man, I wish this, or I wish I would have done that a little differently, or wish I would have worn some different gear.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, wish I would have gave myself that stupid haircut 3 days before.
Hey, do you go back and watch your matches still?
Not a lot, man.
No?
It's hard. I don't, and maybe I should, but I don't, and it's because very rarely do I ever really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, very rarely do I ever watch them, and really a lot of wrestling. Guys come up to me all the time and ask me about it, and I say, I don't really watch a lot of wrestling right now.
Did you watch your?
I watch enough.
Did you watch your match with
What's
Ricochet?
I have not watched that yet. I know it was up on Facebook Live, but I saw clips of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you were in it.
I don't know when I fell out of that. Because early in my career, I watched everything of mine and really broke it down. And later on in my career, I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a hard time watching a lot of my stuff.
Well, you were in it, so you know what was good and what wasn't about it. usually.
Yeah, for the most part. And like, listen, there's value to going back and kind of breaking things down. And I think now that maybe I've got a few days off, I can go back and watch a couple of those things because, listen, the industry's changed. It's changed. The style's changed. The fans, what they expect has changed. And really from what I was, trying to learn in WWE as far as how they want to do things, and now coming out on the other side of having to kind of almost relearn, well, now what works out here doesn't necessarily work there and vice versa. And so, and especially too, like, the NXT brand was where I probably felt most comfortable from a work standpoint. And then when you get up to the main roster, it's a little different philosophy, and you have different restrictions and things that you have to take account for. So
yeah.
But now I have a lot of freedom, so I need to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Because I'm not going to have an agent tell me this is what your match is going to be or this is what you're going to do during your match. I'm not going to have people producing my matches. And so that, so I need to start thinking about, all right, well, what do I want to do with the time I have left? And I've been really fortunate that the people I've been working for have given me a lot of creative freedoms. And to be honest, out of that's come some really cool stuff. Like I'm kind of excited what people are going to see with the Defiant stuff that's gonna show up here on their television over the next few weeks.
Yep. That's
tied into the IPW UK stuff I'm doing.
Nice.
And I'm happy that I had my hand a lot in that and facilitating all this. And again, at my point in my career, like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to add things not just in the ring but outside the ring too, and creatively as well.
Austin, I've been watching you for 13 or 14 years or whatever, and I think a lot of people came to watch your career the way I did, which is when you were part of Generation Next. And apologies if this is a rote question at this point, but if you were to put together a new Generation Next right now, using 4 people available to you, who would you put together as that next Generation Next right now?
Ooh. That's a good question that I don't know that I have the answer to. Because I think the thing about Generation Next at the time was, Gabe Sapolsky was really good at identifying talent that hadn't really made a name for themselves yet, right? Guys that were hungry, guys that had potential, but maybe hadn't been given the platform or the spotlight to really blossom. And I don't know that I have my thumb on the pulse enough of those type of cats in the industry that I could pick 4 out that would benefit the way that we did from that.
Right.
Again, I'm just starting to meet some of these guys as I'm getting back into the independents and I'm starting to do these shows, or I'm just starting to meet some of these younger guys that were, they were kids when they were going back. Oh man, I remember watching you in Generation X, and and I was in 3rd grade or whatever. Like, thanks for making me feel old. But no, man, there's a lot. And you know what? There's so many guys, right? Like, there's so much talent now. And the thing is, I try to explain to these young guys. When we broke in back, I broke in 2000. The process of making a name for yourself, the process of getting yourself out of your regional territory to expand to a national, to an international fan base, it was tedious, man. It was word of mouth. It was reputation. Right. It was giving VHS tapes to a guy that you'd hope you'd give a promoter that you knew you'd never watch it, but if the guy put a good word in for you, maybe you get an opportunity. Like, it took me 4 years from when I started wrestling to be able to do the ECWA Super 8 and then get the opportunity to Ring of Honor, because it took me that long to branch out and expand from Minnesota to Chicago, Chicago to Milwaukee, Milwaukee to Louisville, Louisville, what I'm saying? Like, it was a process. And now guys take for granted that with social media, they literally can have their match up 10 minutes after they've had it, and they can network and they can market in a way that we never could. But so with that, it's like, now everybody's training, there's schools everywhere, there's just an unlimited amount of professional wrestlers or people trying to play professional wrestlers. And
made me think of something.
It's what's that?
You made me think of something. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, dude.
Yeah, no, but basically it's just there's so much talent out there, or people trying to do this, that it's a double-edged sword in some ways, because you got to sift through a lot of shit to find the little nuggets of gold.
Well, there was I'm not 100. I didn't really. I just kind of saw it in passing, but you were coming down on somebody for having like a fantasy camp. Yeah, and we talked a little bit. Privately or whatever, and he explained his position, and I can still kind of disagree with the premise, but yeah.
But again, here's my thing. I had to earn the right to get in a wrestling ring.
Yes.
I had to literally give half of everything I owned to my trainer. I moved up on my buddy's couch.
But you were going to be the next Sean Waltman.
What's that?
But you were going to be the next Sean Waltman. It was worth it.
I know, man. We all were.
That's right.
So yeah, but I had to earn to get in that ring. I wanted to get in that ring so bad that first day.
Yes.
And he didn't let me in that ring. You had to earn it. And so, and when I've ran my schools, Ring of Honor school, and I've gone back and run schools in Minnesota, it's the same way. I tell all the guys, nobody's getting in that ring for the first 4 weeks. Because A, you're going to earn the right to get in that ring. B, I'm going to weed a lot of you people out before we ever step in there.
Yeah.
Because there's enough things we can do and talk about, from just a psychology standpoint, from just a business standpoint, how to conduct yourself, that, you're going to earn the right to get in the ring. It should be a privilege. So, I've had some situations, again, after some of these shows, I see they let the kids get in the ring and bounce around, and I just disagree with that premise because, again, that should be, in some ways, should be protected so that there should be a lure to it, right? There should be a mystique to get in that wrestling ring.
That's why
something that people have to earn.
That's why I really don't like when they do the deal where you get in the ring and take a picture with the wrestler at intermission. I hate that. Number one, it takes so long. It takes so long to get somebody in and out of the ring for the picture. It just sucks up all the time, and it just and for the reasons you just said, don't let them in there. Other side of the rail.
And I've done that, and I've been guilty of that, post show or whatever. Because the thing is though, is that if you don't let people in the ring, that when you offer them the opportunity to actually get in there to take a picture, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a big deal anymore because anybody can get in there. If anybody, at this point, anyone can get in there at any time. And yeah, for this particular case, it was, kind of a fantasy camp where the dad and his kid got to come in there and learn a few things. And again, it's a philosophical thing. I did a show a small show in Wisconsin before the Tommy Dreamer show.
Yeah.
And same deal. All these kids were in the room afterwards, and I removed myself. I didn't want to be out there. I said, hey man, you can run your company the way you want. But I strongly disagree with the premise of having a bunch of kids bouncing around that ring, getting on the ropes. I said, A, just to protect the business, but B, to protect your business. Because if one of those kids slips and breaks his neck or breaks his leg, your company could be done. And that's the other part to think about. So, you heard, but I said basically there's a lot of younger kids training now. I did a lot of these seminars, and these kids are 19, 20, but they've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. And, you can learn the maneuvers, you can learn the spots. But there's a mental aspect of this that I don't know you can grasp at that age because, if you want to be a professional wrestler and not just, pretend you're one or play one, you'll be able to flip the switch mentally to look at it as a business in a different way. Mm-hmm. And, I just don't know that at 19 years old, even if you've been doing this for 3 or 4 years, that you're mature enough to understand the difference of that mentality of actually being a professional wrestler or just playing one and emulating what you see other people do.
I agree, man. And if it wasn't for the people that I was around and the people that trained me, that would have been a huge problem for me.
Sure. And I'm not seeing a lot of veterans in these areas. Again, I did this one seminar in Australia. One of the main trainers was 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing it for 4 years, but he's 20. I'm sorry, but from a maturity standpoint and mentality standpoint, you can know all the stuff. But I don't know that you're in a position to train or teach other people. No. You're still a kid yourself, and there's there's really a lack of real quality grizzled veterans, for lack of a better term, to really show these kids the ropes and how to conduct yourself from the mental aspect of actually being a professional.
Speaking of showing people the ropes and being an athlete, you've been a vegan for since 2000. And being an athlete, the main pillars of being an athlete, they're saying you have to eat meat, you have to eat protein, all this other stuff. But obviously, you've been in the game long enough. How do we change, or how do you think we change that, where there are educators to show athletes can be vegan, vegetarian, and that's actually healthier for their bodies?
I think you're already seeing it. I've been reading articles coming out, more and more articles, NBA players, NFL players, NHL players, UFC. You name it, and they're jumping on the bandwagon because, listen, at the end of the day, I think the amount of protein that we need, even as a high level athlete, has been overstated. Mm-hmm. It certainly has if you're just a normal everyday Joe or Jane. The amount of protein you're intaking because you think it somehow is going to lead to lean mass has been sold to you by the people who want you to buy all their protein. But when it comes down to it, when your body breaks down protein into amino acids, it doesn't know the difference between an animal protein or a plant protein. So as long as you're getting, the right quantities of your amino acids from different foods, you're going to have what you need to rebuild and repair. And, there's no lack of people you can see who've been successful doing it for a number of years. And then when you start talking to the other components of what plant-based lifestyle does for you as far as eliminating a lot of things like cholesterols, a lot of these things that are actually being fed to the animals to plump them up quickly, to keep them awake so they eat all night, steroids, the hormones, the caffeine, the fear, all these things. When you associate it and you realize, well, man, I can still get everything I need nutritionally. I can still provide my body what it needs to nourish it and to be an athlete, but I can eliminate a lot of these bad things that are kind of plaguing us as a society. And then, it also maybe helps my soul feel a little better because nothing had to be tortured or died for me to sustain my life. And, it's really helping the environment because we're destroying the environment with this, really the meat industry is destroying the environment. The amount of resources that we need to make, 1 calorie of beef compared to 1 calorie of plants is, you're talking about 10, 20 times the amount of resources. So in a world where we still have a lot of people starving to death, man, how greedy are we that we use up all these resources to raise livestock to kill them, when if we reallocated those same resources to actually just making food, we literally could feed everybody on the planet.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed that a lot more wrestlers are becoming vegan. Austin, I know Zack Saber's vegan. I think he's been one for a while. I actually saw for Thanksgiving that the Finley family had vegan Thanksgiving. That was kind of cool to see.
I know, right? Of all the Fit Finley of all the people, Fit Finley jumps on the bandwagon. Well, then all the talk of vegans are pussies. Well, that's going to end right there. Because,
no shit.
Fit Finley, there's one thing Fit Finley is, and that's a pussy. And anybody knows him will tell you that.
Look,
Fit Finley can be a man and can eat some plants, and anybody else can too.
For real, man. And I mentioned C.T. Fletcher to you before. He's a guy that's had some heart issues, and he needs a heart transplant, and he switched over to vegan. He was a strength athlete, and, one of the strongest natural bodybuilders and weightlifters ever, really. And these guys, like, they don't fit that image of Well, let me just say this. The people that are looking at vegans and going, oh, you're this or that, you're a pussy, you're not a real man. I'm sorry, but that's just fucking idiotic. You got to be a dipshit to really think that way.
Well,
I'm sorry. I know that some people listening are probably going, oh, I'm not a dipshit. And, if you're a vegan, that just means you weren't a good hunter. It's like, what? Shut the fuck up. Sorry.
I think there has been a change though. So like I was saying, when you started in 2000, it wasn't that you go to the grocery store now and you see vegan options. And I'm guessing like 17 years ago that wasn't the case. And now in LA especially, you're seeing that's a big thing. And I think people, when they're seeing celebrities and athletes kind of joining that bandwagon, it's not going to be as a pussy type thing.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I think too. Listen, we live in a society that's ran by corporations and greed, and I tell people as a consumer, like every time we buy something, we're giving it a vote that it's okay. So if we keep voting for shitty food that makes us sick, they're going to keep giving it to us. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing the shit that people are getting wise to it. They're not voting so much for those things. Again, milk sales are down drastically, because people are starting to realize that they don't need milk. And that it really is a lot more destructive than it is good for you. Milk doesn't do the body good; it does the opposite. And so you see in the industry shift. So with that, the corporations still want your money, so they're gonna put the products out there that you're gonna buy. So really, it's up to us as a consumer to really steer them in the direction of what we will and won't accept as far as what we put in our bodies. Mm-hmm. And really, it just comes with information. And again, my book said I don't make anybody vegan. It's about the journey that I went on, the things I learned that made me make this decision, and then hopefully the information maybe just shed some light, maybe changes people's perspectives to kind of re-examine their food choices. And if they're not really just kind of being beholden to the corporate food system that wants to keep you sick, so being sent to the buddies in the corporate healthcare system that can, not cure you, but treat you. Because, there's no money in healthy people. If we cure you, we lost a customer. So we're just going to give you this pill that'll treat you for life. And it's this vicious cycle of sick people making money on sick people. And I don't understand it. You know, if we're the greatest nation in the world and we're supposed to be leading by example, why are we trying to make money off of healthcare? Why are we trying to make money off of education? Why is there nothing sacred when it comes to profit? Why is it always profits before people? That to me is the fatal flaw of this country, and really people need to stand up and really take note of that, and so we can start changing the way that we do business.
You have mentioned that for people who eat meat, it's not necessarily the meat itself, it's the flavor of it. Is there any, or
Sure.
if it's in your book or, you know, somewhere you can point to us as far as brands or as far as supplement meat products, like tofurkey or whatever, like stuff that you'd suggest?
Yeah, I mean, they make there's more and more, there's all sorts of them. And here's the thing people need to understand. Processed food is processed food, okay? So just because it's vegan doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you. And I wouldn't rely on it as every meal of eating some type of processed fake meat product because, again, it's processed food. If it's something that you can take from your freezer and stick in your microwave and heat it up in 90 seconds, you kind of have an idea of what the quality is going to be. That being said, if you want to satisfy some of those cravings, which I do all the time, you know, Beyond Meat makes a great line of stuff. Sweet Earth makes a good line of stuff. They got these great breakfast burritos called the Big Sur breakfast burritos that in a pinch. You know, if you need a quick thing for breakfast, I go to those all the time.
How about those
Gardein makes a good.
How about those morning? How about those Morningstar Farm sausage patties?
Disgusting.
Nope, I won't touch Morningstar Farm.
No?
If you read the ingredients list, they're not vegan. But
was
also it's a Kellogg's product.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of. If you read the ingredients list, that was the stuff I originally like when I went vegetarian in 2000. That was pretty much all you could find. Mm-hmm. So I really just ate all of that. I replaced everything I used to eat with Morningstar Farms. As I learned more about food, I realized that shit wasn't very good for me either. And they do put milk and egg and stuff in a lot of those products. And again, it's Kellogg's and it tastes disgusting. Corporate, you know, entities. So for me, there's better options out there. And you know, Gardein's one of them. Yeah, I'll do some tofurkey from time to time. You know, Field Roast makes something that doesn't have soy in it, so it's more of a gluten product. And I know some people are afraid of gluten. I don't have any issues with gluten. Obviously, if you have celiac disease, that would be something to be mindful of. But I don't think gluten in and of itself is this big evil that now everything's gluten-free. Well, you know, I don't think gluten is as bad as it's made out to be unless you have some issues surrounding it. So yeah, man, there's like literally tons of options. But you know, then there's also just something like tempeh, which is just fermented soybean. And if you want to season and sauce and spice that up, you can recreate that to taste like any number of things. Because again, it is the flavor profiles. You know, when you get the Big Mac, it's not the beef patty that you long for. It's a special sauce, the onion, the pickle, you know, the combination, the ketchup, all that together. And so if you replicate those flavors with something other than you know, a piece of dead cow or a piece of you know, tens of thousands of dead cows, you know, you're gonna get the same satisfaction and recreate the same flavors.
Austin, almost everyone from the WWE UK division is vegan, and also Zack Sabre, as we talked about. But there are just so many vegan wrestlers who are specifically coming out of the UK right now. Do you have any insight as to why so many of the UK wrestlers seem to be disproportionately vegan as opposed to the American indie wrestlers?
Well, I think what I noticed in my years of traveling over there is that, you know, vegetarianism wasn't very out in the open, right? Like almost anywhere I went, whether it was, you know, a hotel or at the airport, they always had a vegetarian option. So I don't think it was something that was kind of a niche. It was just something that was part of their dietary, you know, spectrum. And so with that now, you know, to go from vegetarian to veganism is literally just as simple as cutting out the eggs and the dairy. So I think because it's something that people were exposed to and that wasn't necessarily hidden, that you're seeing a lot more people transitioning, you know, all the way to completely plant-based. And I really think that's a big part of it, you know, just that it's been a part of their culture for a while. You know, vegetarianism is something that was confusing. Anywhere you went, it had it on the menu. So now the transition from there to the next step isn't such a huge jump.
Hey, Austin, we've had you on the phone for over an hour now, man, and I know you're
it's all
at the
good.
airport still.
I'm waiting for my ride at the airport, man.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Just chilling.
But what are the things that you have going on right now and that you want to plug?
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I got going on that I can't plug yet because I got to wait until it actually comes to fruition.
Yeah, I know.
But a lot of exciting stuff.
I'm not
you know, I'm obviously going back to the UK next week. I've got I got some unfinished business with Defiant Wrestling. I'll be taking care of on Monday and Tuesday. I'll be making an appearance at an IPW show on Thursday to just kind of help promote the show on Sunday, where I'll be taking on Mark Haskins. That show's sold out. They just released just a handful of standing room only tickets, but it's been sold out now. After that, we kind of get to the end of the year. I've got one show on December 30th for Excite Wrestling up in New York, and then we hit the new year. And I think once we get to the new year, 2018, I'm gonna be making some moves and shaking some things up, and you'll be seeing and hearing a lot of me in a couple different areas that I'm pretty excited about. And I think 2018 is going to be a really interesting year for me. I'm excited for everything that's in front of me. And, you know what? Sometimes blessings come in disguises. And as I'm seeing right now with everything that's ahead of me, I'm feeling really blessed and lucky for all these opportunities that I'm about to take advantage of.
Oh, for sure, man. Hey, there's always opportunity on the other side of the shit that happens to us, or the shit we go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm so happy.
You just got to make sure you're looking for it.
Yeah, man.
And that's not even going into the book stuff, man. Obviously, you can still get my book, AustinAriesBook.com. I'm selling more and more copies of those. Really, as I go to these wrestling shows, people are really want to get their hands on them and actually get them from me. I'm working with a PR agency right now to kind of do some things for me outside the wrestling realm, as far as more in the plant-based community, more in television, restaurant type of things. So
yeah,
just got a lot of stuff shaking, and we'll see how it all plays out here in the next few months.
Cool. Hey, man, I'm gonna let you go, man. And well, not that you need me to let you go. You can go any damn time you want. But
yeah.
I'm really, hey man, I'm so grateful that you gave us some of your time today, last minute like this, especially just coming through customs and getting a promo cut on you by the customs agent. So we got all that.
It was cool.
All the listeners and viewers got to hear some of that. It was pretty good. So. Hey,
well, that's why he was upset. He's like, you're not supposed to hear anything I'm saying. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to about that. We're good.
So
nobody can hear you. Keep talking.
Hey, did you plug your Twitter, your social media stuff, and do you have a pro wrestling tee store?
Yeah, man. I actually, so I do have a pro wrestling tee store that just got up. You can find my Brain Busters and Bananas shirt on there. The Chiquita Aries shirt should be up there soon. You can get my book there if you want. So yeah, they probably still have some holiday sales. So take advantage of that. Show me some over at my pro wrestling tee store. And then my two platforms I use the most: my Twitter at Austin Aries, and my Instagram, which has my middle name smushed in the middle, at Austin Aries. And I post some inspirational quotes. I post some pictures of food. I post some shirtless selfies because that gets the most attention. All you guys and girls out there showing me that love. And just kind of keeping up with what I'm doing as I'm kind of traveling the world and having a lot of fun, really being able to, enjoy my life and be in control of it. And there's a lot of cool shit happening, and you can follow it all there.
I'm so happy that you see how great things are moving forward, and, that there's all this waiting for you out here to take. And, thanks again, man, for coming on, and have an awesome day, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Austin.
Yeah, you too, man. Thank you, guys. And I also want to say you're welcome to the dirt sheets. I gave you a couple of good juicy quotes you're gonna be able to pull from this hour and a half. That you're gonna take 2 sentences, and I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about me tomorrow. Shooting on the writers, talking shit about. It's gonna be awesome because there's a lot of goodness in this, but they're gonna find those 2 or 3 nuggets to get those clicks. So have at it, boys, and you're welcome.
Take care, man. Yeah.
All right. We woke up Lou.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is anybody gonna hop on the vegan wagon now?
I love meat way too much.
Here's the thing, I'm not opposed to giving it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm not saying I'm for sure doing anything, but I would definitely incorporate some of that into my diet for sure. I would definitely take a day off from meat. How that goes, I mean, even if you're not doing it all the way, but any little thing is actually a positive
You don't have to eat meat with every meal. You can do it 1 meal a day, and that's how I went from that to vegetarian and to vegan.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it, but your body doesn't need all that. So I'm really looking forward to reading his book to see all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. There was some technical issues, obviously, but
it all came together well in the end.
Yeah, come on. you know it's going to be good when Austin Aries comes on.
He's the greatest man that ever lived.
For sure. Yeah. Anyways. Hey, you guys, what do you want to talk about before we got to go?
Anyone?
Yeah, don't you have anything to plug?
Oh, Denise, go for it. All right, I'll go first. Sure. All right, you guys can check me out on Twitter and on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo, and as always on YouTube, also Denise Salcedo.
And at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Yes, that too.
Jimbo?
Follow me on Twitter at Jimbo in the Booth.
You can check me out at uprocks.com, withspanish.com, uprocks.com pro wrestling, and we will definitely not take Austin Aries' quotes out of context.
No, we won't. No clickbait on. No.
I'm just gonna probably post about him talking about the importance of veganism and how capitalism.
You don't have to take. There's really good stuff you don't have to take out of context at all.
I try not to ever take anything out of context.
No, I wasn't implying you did.
So you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. I do have a toy drive I'm going to be posting up there, and I'm also running the marathon to do water pumps in Africa. So you can follow me up at TK Trinidad. Also Xpac 12360 on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff.
TK takes all those toys and gives them to her nieces and nephews so she don't have to buy presents. Anyways.
Shade.
One niche, she only gets a few.
All right, everyone. I'm at the Real X-Pac on Twitter, and I think it's at Real X-Pac on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
At it's baby, at it's baby Lula.
Shout out to Lula sleeping on the couch.
Hey, we'll see you guys next week. I think we might have Conan come on.
K-Dog.
Yeah.
Wolfman.
Good night, everyone.
Bowdy.
Hello.
Rowdy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I think they shut us off.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Sean Waltman, producers Jimbo Frank and TK Trinidad, managing producer of AfterBuzz TV Wrestling Mark Donica, and the entire Xpac 12360 staff. We would like to thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube. Follow Xpac on Twitter at TheRealXpac and email us at xpac12360show@gmail.com. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV Network. Buzz you later.